I actually was talking to this black cis man on, on Hinge. And I was communicating with him for a little bit, nothing really too deep. And then at some point, he asked me for my social media, and I was trying to explain to him that, like, some of my content may implicate him as an oppressor. And so I just wanted to give him a little heads up that, you know, he may be triggered in many respects as a black man. And I'm holding that I literally, for the first time in my entire life, ever engaged with a black cis man and told him straight up, like, hey, I'm not dealing with the fuck around here. Like, I'm not trying to benchmark here, promise. But I just want to give myself a tiny pat on the back because I literally, you know, I've been avoiding this conversation. And I gotta be honest about why. It's uncomfortable as fuck. Because depending on where he's at, he could be like, bitch, how dare you? You know what I mean? Like, a black cis man could have all types of responses to what I'm saying. And so I never want to purport to know how anything's going to go down. And I always want to be engaging, just in good faith. Because, like, this is a lot. And with that being said, if you got to dip on out, if I'm talking about anti-blackness and my contributions too much for you, that's real as hell. If I'm implicating you in harm and it is making you uncomfortable, that's real as hell. Like, all of these things are valid. I don't want you to deny yourself your emotions here. Like, if you're sad, dude, be sad, dude. You can be sad. That is an okay thing to feel. Sadness, we can do something with sadness, right? But guilt, shame, well, no, shame's good. Shame is definitely good. But guilt, no one can do anything with guilt. No one can do anything with that. Think about white people being weird. Like, honestly, like, I just want folks, like, especially my light-skinned folks who are listening, because I'm really creating content for, obviously, delusional light-skinned people. Hello. Hi. If you're not a delusional light-skinned person. Or if you're a white person, or you're a mixed person who's been in black spaces and never really even thought about any of this shit, that's dope. That's great. I love that. But yeah, just make sure that, like, you're not holding space too much for anything that I'm saying. Like, feel free to dip on out of here and go investigate, listen to deep dark skin creators who are talking about this stuff. This is some, listen, I mean no shade when I say this, but I don't know if anybody's ever seen... No, I'm not going to do this. You know what? I'm not going to share it, but I'm just going to say, being mindful of delusional light-skinned thoughts is just, like, one of the wildest things. Because it's like, there were times where I was just saying stuff, right? Like, I know some of y'all remember that time period of me just saying things. But now I'm in my period of realizing things, and... You know what? Realizing is the wrong word. What I'll say, I'm in my period of listening and learning. Actually, one thing that my horoscope is saying, and if anybody out there is looking for a horoscope app, might want to check out CoStar. I'm actually loving it. There were people that had a critique and said that it was kind of like bullying people. I personally don't feel that way, but here's what I'll say. I feel like CoStar can be a little direct. And I like that shit. I love some direct shit. But that's because I'm a Capricorn. And so that's my trauma. That's my toxic trait. I love it said kind of profoundly. And you will hear, I like it said mean. Sometimes I just prefer, like, the blunt. Because, like, again, Capricorn, Saturn, just give it to me. But yeah, so I say all this to say that I'm definitely in my period of planning. That's what I was trying to say. CoStar was telling me that 2023, that's the year of the plan. And I don't disagree. Like, I do think that we have to be strategic and collaborate in better ways. Like, having conversations that ask questions and don't leave us walking around feeling like we know shit. Because honestly, a lot of us don't know anything. And that's dangerous. It could also mean that is open, fertile ground for learning, healing, transforming. Like, I'm trying to be positive with it, but the reality is a lot of us will hear this conversation and get angry. That is real. That's valid. Like, please feel your feelings. Like, I'm not trying to be shitty when I say this. I promise you. Also, I want to say one more thing. Things that have been awkwardly said in response to me uplifting some content that deep dark skinned people already literally say. So some of y'all are engaging with me, and it's like, if you actually did a little bit of digging, you would find people that are communicating about this, that have the analysis, that have the lens that you maybe don't. And so, you know what I mean? You can benchmark with fighting with me. You can benchmark there for sure. But why? Think about that. Everything we do is a fucking response to something. Sometimes, oh my God, my horoscope really hitting me right now. Oh my God. I'm telling you, get on CoStar, bitch. Did it just go? Fuck, my brain. Hold on. Damn. I'm gonna have to listen to this back. Bitch, it came back. Wait, did it just go again? Oh, okay. People ignore and try to avoid the truth because they do not want to break the illusion in their own minds. Bitch. I know that hit somebody right now. Good. I hope at least, because it really just hit for me just now. Some of us mixed people have an illusion in our minds of our blackness. We're like, oh, there was a black man somewhere in our lineage, a black grandmother. Like, come on. Some of us are really not grasping it. Like, I feel like the conversation around folks using their baby pictures to include themselves in blackness was a moment, wasn't it? But that was another benchmark. I know some of us remember that time, don't we? But something I want to uplift really quickly is, like, remember all the discourse around Cardi? Remember all that discourse around Cardi B? Now people are like, she's black. She's black. Like, people are, like, just accepting it now. But there was a fight. Y'all remember that? I know people remember that shit. And that fight was a tiny moment, a really tiny moment where us light-skinned people, especially us light-skinned people with recent mixed ancestry. I feel like I'm gonna start saying recent mixed ancestry because a lot of folks are on that Beyonce where they got like a gray ancestor, where they got like a mother of pearl, a tooth-colored ancestor, and that ancestor was not enslaved. But folks want to talk about chattel slavery, and it's awkward as fuck, honestly, at this point in 2023, babe. Like, I remember when Beyonce used to talk about being mixed. Do y'all remember that? It's buried now, bitch. But there's a reason for that. Think about that. There was a time when Beyonce wasn't flattening her identity. Think about why she would flatten her identity. Think about it. What does she gain from decentering blackness on that high level? Think about it. Take a moment. Because real talk, I really feel like that's maybe how I should engage with the content. Is just engaging with people that we know are mixed or that maybe we don't know are mixed. Because there's folks out there that are deep dark skinned that are mixed. And it's up to them to uplift their mixedness and be honest. Like, folks be trying to use that as a gotcha, and it's weird. It's like there's no gotcha. There are mixed people being oppressors. And because of proximity, because of black cis men dating out, because of black cis men centering non-black women, there are a bunch of us mixed people in black spaces who really do not belong here. Do not. And it really wasn't until I engaged with other mixed people who were like centering deep dark skinned black people, I didn't even understand that work needed to be done. And I'll be genuine with you. When I first engaged with other mixed people who were like centering blackness in this particular way, I was kind of like disturbed. Like, I would be real with you. I was disturbed. My spirit was disturbed. Because as some of you may or may not know, my mom is like a Meghan Markle. Her father is biracial. And so she looks white. But she claims biracial. It's very much a bastardization of the word biracial, if you want to be real. I suggest we bring back quadroon, mongrel, griff, personally, because maybe that would help us. You know what I mean? And I know somebody out there is laughing. I'm glad I gave you a chuckle, babe. But I'm being so serious because there are a lot of us out there that know good and goddamn well we got a white granny. We know we got a white grandmother. Miss Mary. Some of y'all got a Mimi. Some of y'all got a Nana right now. And I'm not trying to comfort you. And I feel like, my tone was in jest. I was trying to be silly. This topic is not funny at all. It's actually quite serious. But I had to take a moment. But a lot of us mixed people are unaware of how much harm we're doing with even engaging with deep dark skinned people and antagonizing, asking questions, being inquisitive without doing any kind of personal work, which really is internal. Like, some of us are antagonizing deep dark skinned people about this work and this labor that they're doing, and it's connected to their lived experiences. Are you grasping that with me? Are you with me? Stand with me in this. The work, the labor, that is their life. Do you understand? Like, we must stop fractioning blackness and colonizing blackness with our mixed lens. We are doing a lot of harm. Low-key, I really want to engage with Meghan Markle because Meghan Markle is the closest example to my mother. While my mother does have textured hair and has never straightened her hair to appear more white, she looks so white, she don't have to. Even with her 2C hair, maybe not 2C, maybe like a 3A. Shit, maybe a 2C, bitch. I don't want to give too much. But even with their hair not being bone straight, at most people will think they're part of the Latinidad, which can be any color. So they're clocking her as a white Latin with maybe a little bit of, a little bit of, And so having a parent that is reading as white, at most, perhaps can speak Spanish. No shade. No shade. Being my primary caretaker when I'm not reading as white at all. And then on top of that, my father being just very sometimesy. And also not being an American black cis man. So there's layers to this conversation that span the diaspora, to be quite honest with you. And I don't mean that to be like, I'm mixed in from everywhere. I just mean that there are layers to this conversation as someone who's not just from here. Like, there's layers of anti-blackness in the Caribbean, and there's layers of anti-blackness in America, and people try to divorce them from each other, but they're connected. And I'm not going to go too deeply into that because, quite honestly with you, I want to stay back on my topic with Meghan Markle, because her way of coding herself, her way of uplifting anti-blackness, this bitch is not even just an op. This is what I was talking about with the oppressor wanting to be you. Like, that is a full white woman. She has absolutely been passing and surrounding herself with white women in order to pass even more. If she wanted to be seen as non-white, she would engage in community spaces where she's not being centered. Like, between me and you, Meghan Markle owes money to, like, every deep dark skinned person on earth right now. Like, highest of keys. Like, owes money, time, energy. And, like, I know they donated to the Loveland Project, but between me and you, the Loveland Project is kind of flawed because you don't necessarily have to be black to get vouchers. Ask me how I know. And so I know that there are non-black people abusing it. Again, ask me how I know. And so with that being said, even though they are contributing to things that are specifically for black women, they're also decentering the conversation around blackness. So I guess you put a penny in and you take $1 out. But it's really one of those situations where the conversations need to be centering deep dark skinned people, because once us mixed people, especially the white passings, get their hands and their teeth into blackness. Like, think about when people say first black blank. Think about, like, the first black author. Think about, like, the first black fucking motorist. You know what I mean? Or, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, just the first black. Look it up. Look it up for me. Tell me what you see. Most black people are deep dark skinned. And anybody who says anything else that's different is gaslighting you. Period. There's a reason why when you look at, like, I don't know, like, any memorabilia from a time when deep dark skin, like, if you look at any content or any kind of signage that is articulating, no black people. There ain't no light-skinned people in the picture. There ain't no depiction of no light skin. Like, you know what I mean? It's like no mixed people are being implicated. Like, it is clear. There's a reason why there's not a light-skinned mammy doll or mammy memorabilia. There's a reason why certain imagery is couched in deep dark skin. We must reconcile with that. We must hold that. We must see that. We must be more clear in our vision. Like, when we're noticing something that is centering black people or saying they are, and there are no deep dark skinned black people, the deepest, darkest shade, we do not see any deepest, darkest shade folk showing up, being centered, getting paid, getting loved, getting uplifted. Come on, think about it. I need y'all to really get on code, because the truth of the matter is, you know what it's going to take? It's going to take us mixed people being like, this is fucked up. This is erasure. Like, us not engaging with the work means that we are not doing labor. And I want to be clear. I don't feel like any light-skinned people can really do any labor around colorism. Like, uplifting our privilege is like, that's not labor. Like, I don't know who needs to tell you that. It's sad that it's me, but, like, it's not labor to be uplifting your privileges and doing work on the behalf of folks that you're harming by decentering, by not listening to, by not acquiescing certain opportunities. Like, there are moments where us light-skinned people get hit up to do stuff, and we should say no. We really should say no, but do we? Think about how many opportunities there are for light-skinned people when it comes to black anything. Think about who's there. Think about who's not there. Why can't they be there? Why aren't we bringing them with us? Why do we have the power to bring somebody who black into a black space? Who gave us that power? We have to really get curious, because there's going to be a lot of mixed people who, like, are going to want to fight. There's a lot of mixed people that are going to want to cry, and also, I said don't cry. I meant don't cry to deep dark-skinned people. Cry amongst light-skinned people. Hopefully not ones that are too indulgent of our privilege, because I've definitely gone to another light-skinned person to talk about my privilege, and that was fucking goofy of me. I regret doing that. Like, that really, like, to be honest, you talk to the wrong light-skinned person about anti-blackness, you talk colorism, and they'll set you back. Honestly, like, I talked to a fellow mixed person about being a light-skinned person, and I really just feel like we walked around in circles for fucking 30 hours in retrospect. Like, in retrospect, that conversation doesn't make sense to me. And so I just want to be clear with you that, like, there's so many moments that I think back and I'm like, oh shit, that was really anti-black. That was colorist. That was misogynoir. Like, there's moments that I have to reconcile with where I was fucked up and nobody could tell me I was fucked up. Nobody could, like, reach my brain. Nobody could reach my colonized ass thoughts. I was offering that to people without even engaging with that, and that's something that I have to sit with now. That is something I have to uplift now. And there are white people that might be realizing, oh shit, I've been racist as fuck. Oh shit, I've been doing this or that. Yeah, that's what this is. That's literally what it is. Don't talk about being fucking woke. Don't talk about that shit anymore. Don't say woke. Shut the fuck up. Just listen to the oppressed. I promise you, there's so much work to be done. You don't really have time to be bullshitting. We don't have time to be bullshitting. And with that being said, it's important to remind ourselves when we're talking about the oppressed from the perspective of the oppressor that we include ourselves, that we don't isolate people who are doing behavior that we're doing as well as if they're different from us, because that is in bad faith. And so I just want to be uplifting that as well. I do not think I'm a super light-skinned person. I don't think that I'm that my voice is important or that my lens is like special. I think that unfortunately, due to white supremacy and the foster care system, being raised by, you know, an exotical, there's just many ways that I've seen the world. Like, I've been able to live in multiple realities, and I think that is not typical. And I think that I know to somebody out there, I probably sound crazy as fuck, and that's fine. That's like the nature of privilege and like white supremacy is like there are so many deep dark skinned people saying this shit and like they're not crazy, like, or not to be employing ableist language, but I just want to be candid that like some people are limited in their vocabulary, and some people will really think that you're unwell because you are, you know, being candid about the ways that you've been the oppressor. And, you know, I'm sure somebody white talking about whiteness and including themselves in the oppression is probably wild as fuck to hear to another white person, especially if they're not engaging with that. So I'm holding space for the fact that there's some light-skinned people who are probably like, what the fuck? But it's true. Like, our privilege is just like so fucking loud. We can't hear it, and other folks are being impacted by it. And a lot of us are out here and having the nerve to be asking weird questions or just making strange statements. Like someone tonight, as I said earlier, was like, oh, not every light-skinned person is deep dark skin. Excuse me, not every light-skinned person is mixed. Or rather, not every mixed person is light-skinned. That's what was said. Not every mixed person is light-skinned. And I was like, I never said they all were. And I think that that's another frustrating thing, is like whenever I talk about being a light-skinned mixed person, people chime in to be like, not every light-skinned person is mixed. And it's like, yeah, they are. And it's unfortunate that like folks are not, you know, at that point, at that part. But I've been where they are at as well. I've definitely engaged with like reading, you know, that most black, and low-key circling back to like me talking about how I was disturbed by mixed people doing labor on behalf of deep dark-skinned people. My spirit being disturbed was because I thought that my blackness was settled. I had actually thought to myself, I must be grandfathered in. At this point, that's how I was seeing certain mixed celebrities, such as Beyonce, Zoe Kravitz. Like, I'm like, we are, like Rihanna, like, we are the last light skins who are obviously mixed, who are going to be allowed to be claiming blackness. Like, we are the last generation. I really thought like that. I know that's so fucked up. I know that's super fucked up. I know now. But at the time, that's where I was at. That's another benchmark. And so, clearly, from what I just described to you, how well can I be? How well can I be? And obviously, as I'm saying, these are thoughts that I had, not thoughts that I have now. But still, Like, I feel like the more that I expose to you, the more somebody black is going to realize, oh, I'm around a bunch of motherfuckers that are mixed as fuck and being weirdos. And you might not even see it for real. You might not. But I have had the privilege of being isolated while learning this. Like, I listened to all of this information while I was, like, tucked away from other people. And so I did not really get a chance to ever, I don't even know exactly what I'm trying to say in this respect, because the truth of the matter is even though I wasn't around people because of the pandemic, I still engage with deep dark skinned people in bad faith, as I said before. And also my experiences with, and I'm trying to get back to the thread that I had. My experiences with my white-looking parent basically telling me that I'm both, that I am black and I am white, but that she is also black. Like, my mom's not, like, sitting with her whiteness. Like, my mom's never uplifting her whiteness. And I think, again, that speaks to, like, her internalized self-hate, her white guilt, her white fragility. Like, I know my mom loves her father, but between me and you, I feel like my grandfather is a op. I don't think that he's very invested in black folks or like any kind of community building. He left his first wife, who was from, how I see, like, let me just put it this way. My grandfather had a wife that was not white and has children from his first wife that live in the South. And they're all doing significantly better than the children that he had with my white grandmother. And honestly, there was a level of just narcissism masquerading as Christianity. And so I feel like my mom, being the Meghan Markle that, like, really wanted to be seen as black, I feel like that's a completely different experience from Meghan Markle, perhaps. But my mom was never trying to look more white. Like, if anything, from her clothing choices and, like, just how she was navigating the world, she was absolutely trying to, and in community with, non-white women. And I feel like there were maybe a few white people that my mom had around us, but for the most part, there were a lot of black women who a lot of times were single parents themselves and, had community with my mom. Now, I can't speak to the nature of these friendships and how good they were and how strong and lasting they were. But to be quite honest with you, my mom recently told me that one of her aunts called her white and it hurt her feelings. And I have already tried to engage with my mom. I'm going to keep trying, but, she's really one of those, like, I'm black because my father is a mixed man who looks black. I'm not trying to pass for white. So therefore I can't be white. Like, just the logics and the mental gymnastics that I was dealing with as a child. So mentally, I'm gonna be real with you. There is a gaslighting that is being employed against some of us by our own family, our own parents, our own grandparents, our own lineage, ancestors. Like, it's really fucked up. And these are things that you might not know unless you do a little digging. Getting back into it, though, I, for a long time, based on my mom's, information, and based on me looking at my grandfather and appraising him as black, despite him, having hazel eyes, despite him, in retrospect, very clearly being mixed, there was this a gaslighting, you know? Like, my grandfather in the South, even though his own father is biracial, the way that his own father is, you know, navigating the world, the one drop rule is wild. But also, anti-blackness and mixed people feeling welcome in black spaces and never having to name themselves. And as I said, a lot of us mixed people get to choose our own adventure. A lot of times, like, I just remember growing up and my mom just being, like, really disgusted that I was enjoying Aaron Carter, was really disgusted that I partook in any kind of, like, white entertainment. And it was just so, like, it was just a weird black essentialism that was popping off. And it was just kind of like, dude, like, you're doing too much. Like, I just feel like my mom really, unfortunately, like, is so tapped into what she thinks is blackness or what she thinks is, like, how to navigate the world. Like, it's just very weird to me. But at the same time, I think that, like, while she has been in community with black cis men, she unfortunately has also been the side. Like, I don't know if my mom is clocking this for herself, but there have been many times where black cis men have just, like, stepped out on her or stepped out on black women to be with her or stepped out on white women to be with her. And it's just been a whole mixed bag of just seeing just very toxic dynamics with a white-looking person who claims biracial and black cis men. And, like, I think that being, like, my first, like, me seeing how white-looking women who are mixed and black men collude with each other, how toxic that relationship is, how one-sided that relationship is, like, seeing that, like, that's harm. It's harm. And I think that, as I said, like, I'm appraising my ancestry based on my mom, based on my dad, based on what I'm seeing, not what I know. And so I actually paid for Ancestry during the quarantine and spit in a little vial and found out that my grandfather's father's mother is white. And I had no idea. I was operating like a lot of folks and thinking they were just they just happened to be light-skinned people, right? Like, I'm engaging with my ancestors that are looking literally like corn and not seeing how there is recent admixture that may not necessarily be couched in the phenotype that people want to acknowledge as mixed. Like, mixedness has honestly been colonized its damn self. Let's talk about that. That's a whole nother layer to this. Like, when people talk about who is mixed, they don't include people like me because there are a lot of people who look like me who are mixed, but they're, like I said, there are people who've been mixing for so long that they don't have to claim mixedness, even though if they did their ancestry like I did, they would find, you know? And again, there are a lot of people trying to claim that chattel slavery is why they have recent admixture. And, you know, like, I can't make anybody do the ancestry test, and I don't really think that that's necessary. I just think that, like, that's why the colorism conversation is so important, because some of us mixed people have done some real deep manipulation. Like, I'm talking, it's not even expert level. People just listen to us light-skinned people who are mixed. Like, that's literally just that's it. That is all that happened. People just not listening to deep dark-skinned people. And so a lot of mixed, lighter-skinned people in academic spaces, in medical spaces, in historical spaces, think about it. Like, think about how many people are implicated in what is being regurgitated here. I just want you to consider, like, how many people are implicated. Because, you know, I had a realization randomly, not even randomly, after being in Clubhouse and sitting around and listening to people, that Rachel Dolezal was able to exist because of me, because of mixed people like me, because of us yellow bones, us light skins, us quadroons, us 75-25s. Like, the gate been open. And so that's how white bitches slid right in. It's very simple. And I don't want to say the gate is open because I feel like that's really dismissive of like what's really going on. Because as I've been tracking like just like mixed people, just like centering ourselves, there has been white collaboration. Like, white people have collaborated to put people like W.E.B. Du Bois in power as a black ... So many achievements. But, excuse me, folks refuse to engage with the fact that that's a mixed man. And folks won't engage with a lot of mixed people getting black achievements. And that needs to change. Because while folks are focused on mixed people creating first black achievements, there are black people achieving things that are going underappreciated, under uplifted, and it happens over and over again. And that's how we're here. Again, I do not want to make it seem like I understand everything, because I fucking don't. I'm just trying to listen. But at the same time, through listening, I have some thoughts. And if you don't want to engage with them again, please don't feel the need. Dip on me. To be honest with you, I feel like I might... Well, I already have a space for the medicine, so I just want to let folk know, like, I'm trying to keep this content over here, trying to keep the medicine space over there on Fat Beep. But, yeah, I'm definitely going to be emoting on here and sharing what I want to on YouTube. Won't share everything. Trying to content warn because I do have the ability to do that, like, with every slide. So I'm trying to hold myself accountable to do that because... You know, there's some things that I'm saying that, you know, might sound easy breezy, but they're not. They're not. They're all important, and it might seem flippant. And, you know, again, please feel free to check me if you think it's necessary, or, you know, you feel compelled, or you have the spoons, or you want to. But I know that, like, and this is just my own experience, but I remember a white person telling me, you should not trust me. And it made me feel so good. Like, I know that sounds really fucked up, maybe, to somebody, but I appreciated that white person listening enough to people of color, especially black people, to know, to let me know, like, watch out. Don't trust me. Be careful. Protect yourself. Don't be so in alignment with me and in solidarity with me that you fuck up and you miss opportunities to be in solidarity with folks that really need to be in solidarity, that you need to be in solidarity with. And so that's like the energy that I'm on as well. Like, I don't want to be a light-skinned person just acting like, well, what can I do? Like, expose the truth. Like, so many, like, it's like, what's not... I don't want to say what's not clicking because that's not for me, but I just want to say, like, it's like us mixed people really take everything, don't we? But we won't take this fucking initiative to fucking engage in some actual fucking something, like something that matters. Like, literally, like, we are talking everywhere. I'll talk about all types of shit, but I'm all over here quiet about ways in which black cis men are fucking colluding with us mixed folks, with light-skinned folks, to, I don't want to say replace, but definitely further colonize blackness. Way further. And as I said before, I would not be able to share any of this if I wasn't engaged in labor that deep dark-skinned people have been doing, and not for me. They're doing it to be set free from this hellscape. They're doing it to fucking have joy outside of the fucking reality that we are perpetuating for them. And that is what I'll leave you with. We are perpetuating this onto them. Every time we don't read, every time we ask a question instead of just giving some money for all the labor that we already have access to, we're really asking for way too much and we're not really offering a lot. So I want us to really consider how we can switch that around. Ask for less, but give so much more. That's the only way this shit works.